Christian Counsel by Fenelon. 2. Of the necessity of knowing and loving God. It is not astonishing that men do so little for God, and that the little which they do costs them so much. They do not know Him, scarcely do they believe that He exists, and the impression they have is rather a blind deference for general opinion than a lively and distinct conviction of the divinity. They suppose it is so because they do not dare to examine, and because they are indifferent in the matter, their souls being distracted by the inclination of their affections and passions for other objects. But their only idea of Him is of something wonderful, far off, and unconnected with us. They think of Him as a stern and powerful being, ever making requisitions upon us, thwarting our inclinations, threatening us with great evils, and against whose terrible judgment it behoves everyone to be on his guard. Such is the inward thought of those who think seriously about religion, and their number even is small enough. He is one who fears God, say they, and in truth such a one fears only, but does not love. And the child is in awe of the master who punishes him, or as the servant is in dread of the blows of one who he serves from fear, and of whose interest is he utterly regardless. Would he like to be treated by the son or the servant as he treats God? It is because God is not known. If He were known, it would be loved. God is love, says the Apostle John, 1 John 4, 8, and 16. He who loves Him not does not know Him. For how could we know love without loving it? It's plain then, and all those who have hitherto only feared God have not known Him. But who shall know thee, O my God? Who shall seek with his whole heart to know thee? Who shall know himself with approbation no longer, and to whom all that is not that shall be as though it were not? The world cannot receive this thing because it is full of self and vanity and lies, and is empty of God. But I trust that there will always be souls hungering for God who will relish the truth which I am about to set forth. O my God, before Thou madest the heavens and the earth, before Thou madest the heaven and the earth. This is King James English. Let's start this paragraph again. O my God, before Thou madest the heavens and the earth, there was none loved by Thee. Thou wert, because with Thine years there was no beginning, but Thou wert alone. Out of Thee there was nothing, and Thou didst rejoice in this blessed solitude. Thou art all sufficient in Thyself, and Thou hadst no need of anything of thyself. For none can give unto thee, and it is thou that givest to all, by thine all-powerful word that is by thine simple will. To it nothing is difficult, and it does whatsoever it will from its own labor. Then didst cause that this world, which was not as yet, shall begin to be, not as workmen the earth, who found the materials for the work ready made to their hands, and whose art consists in bringing them together, and arranging them by slow degrees in the requisite order. Thou didst find nothing ready made, but didst create all the materials for thy work. It was to nothing that thou didst say, let the world be, and it was. Thou didst only speak, and it was done. But why didst thou create all these things? They were all made for man, and man was made for thee. This is the order which is for thine appointment. And woe to him who inverts it, who then all should be for him, and shuts himself in self. He breaks the fundamental law of creation. No, Lord, thou canst not yield essential prerogatives of a creator. It would degrade thee. Thou canst pardon the guilty soul that has warred against thee, because thou canst fill it with thy pure love. But thou canst not cease to be an awareness with the soul, which refers all thy gifts to itself, and refuses to embrace thee as its creator with a sincere and disinterested affection. To have no feeling but the fear is none to refer to the self to thee, but on the contrary, to thank thee solely with reference to self, to allow thee with a single eye to the good thou canst bestow, is not to lose oneself in thee, but to lose thee in self. What then must be done in order that we may be lost in thee? We must renounce, forget, and forever lose sight of self, take part with thee, and shine, O God, against ourselves, and ours have no longer any will, glory, or peace, but thine only. In a word, we must love thee without loving self, except in and for thee. God, who made us out of nothing, recreates us, as it were, every moment. It does not follow that because we were yesterday, we shall of course be today. We should cease to exist and return into the nothingness, out of which he formed us. Did not the same all-powerful hand prevent? Of ourselves, we are nothing, but what God has made us, and for so long time, only as he pleases. He has but to withdraw the hand that sustains us, and we plunge into the abyss of annihilation. As a stone held in the air falls by its own weight when its support is removed. Existence and life, then, are only ours because they are conferred by God. They are blessings, however, of a purer and higher order, than this. A well-ordered life is better than life. Virtue is of a higher price than health. Uprightness of heart and the love of God are as far above temporal goals and the heavens above the earth. If then these lower and baser gifts are held only through the mercy and the pleasure of God, with how much more reason must it be true of the sublime gift of love? Thee know thee not them, O my God, who regard thee as all-powerful being, separated from themselves, giving laws to all nature, and creator of everything which we behold. They know thee but in part. They know not that which is most marvelous, which most nearly concerns thine rational creatures. To know that thou art the God of my heart, and that thou there dost what pleases thee. This it is and elevates and affects me. When I'm good, it is because thou renders me so. Not only does thou turn my heart and please thee, but thou givest me one like thy own. It is thyself that thou lovest in me. Thou art the life of my soul, as my soul is the life of my body. Thou art more intimately present to me than I am to myself. This I, to which I am so attached, and which I have so ardently loved, ought to be strange to me in comparison with thee. Thou art the best order of it. Without thee never would have been. Therefore it is thou desirest that I should love thee better than it. O incomprehensible power, my Creator! O rightful Creator over the creature, which the creature will never sufficiently comprehend. O prodigy of love, which God alone could perform. God interposes himself, as it were, between me and myself. He separates me from myself. He desires to be near to me by his pure love than I am to myself. He would have me look upon this me as a stranger. He would have me escape from its walls, sacrifice whole to him, return it absolutely and unconditionally to him from whom I received it. What I am ought certainly to be less precious to me than he by whom I am. He made me for himself, and not to be my own. This is to love him and to will what he wills, and not to seek my own will. Does anyone feel his heart revolve and this total sacrifice out to him who has created us? I weep for his blindness. Our compassion is a bondage to the self, and to pray God to deliver him from it by teaching him to love him above every other object. Oh my God, in these souls offended as I am pure love, I behold the darkness and rebellion resulting from the fall. That does not make man's heart will this monstrous passion of appropriation. The uprightness therein, the scripture teaches us, he was originally created consisted in this, that he had no claim upon himself, but acknowledged that he belonged to his Creator. O Father, thine children are sadly changed, and no longer bear thy image. They are enraged, they are discouraged. They are told they should belong to thee, and thou belongest to thyself. They desire to reverse this holy order. would madly raise themselves into gods, to desire to be their own, to do everything for self, on the list, to surrender themselves with uncertain reservations and conditions and for their own advantage. All monstrous usurpation, all unknown rights of God, all the ingratitude and insolence of the creature, miserable nothing. What hast thou to keep for thyself? What hast thou which belong to thee? What hast thou which did not come from on high, and ought not to return thither? Everything, yea, even this I which we divide with God his gifts, is a gift of God, was only made for him. Everything within thee cries out against thee and for thine Creator. Be still then, thou who, having been created, wouldst deny thine Creator, and surrender thyself wholly to him. But alas, O my God, what a consolation it is to know that everything within as well as without me is the work of thine hand. Thou art ever with me. When I do wrong, thou art within me, reproaching me with the evil which I do, raising within me regrets for the good which I abandon, and opening to me thine arms of mercy. When I do good, thou inspirest desire and does it in me and with me. It is thou who loves good and hatest evil in my heart, who suffers and prays, who does good to the neighbor and gives alms. I do all these things but by thy means. Thou callest me to do them in thou who puttest them in me. These good works, which are thine gifts, become my works. But they do not cease to be thine gifts, and they cease to be good works, if I look at them for a moment as emanating from myself, or if I forget that they are good only because they come from thee. Now then, it is my delight to believe it, and insistently working within me. There are laborers invisibly like miners in the bowels of the earth. Thou dost everything, and yet the world behold thee not, attributes nothing to thee. Yet even I myself wanders everywhere vainly searching for thee. Outside myself, I run over all the wonders of nature, that I might form some conception of thine greatness. Ask thine creatures of thee, and not one thought of finding thee in the depths of my heart, where thou hadst never ceased to dwell. No, O my God, it's not necessary to descend into the depths, nor to pass beyond the seas. It is not necessary to ascend into the heavens to find thee. Thou art nearer to me, to us, than we are to ourselves. O my God, who art one so great and so condescending, so high above the heavens and so accommodating to the miseries of the creature, so infinite and so intimately enclosed in the depths of my heart, so terrible and so lovely, so jealous and so easy to be entreated of those who converse with thee with familiarity and pure love. When will thine children cease to be ignorant of thee? Where shall I find a voice loud enough to reproach the whole world with its blindness, and to tell it with authority all that thou art? When be men look for thee in their own hearts, it is as though we bid them search for thee in the remotest and most unknown lands. What territory is more distant or more unknown to the greater part of them, vain and dissipated and they are, than the ground of their own hearts? Do they ever know what it is to enter within themselves? Have they ever endeavored to find the way? Can they ever form the most distant conception of the nature and the interior sanctuary, that impenetrable depths of the soul, where thou desires to be worshipped in spirit and in truth? They are ever outside themselves in the objects of their own ambition or of their pleasure. Alas, how can they understand heavenly truths, since, and our Lord says, they can't even comprehend those which are earthly? John 3:12. They can't conceive what is to enter within themselves by serious reflection. What would they say if they were told be to come out of themselves, that they might be lost in God? As for me, my Creator, I shut my eyes to all exterior things, which are but a vanity, a vexation of a spirit. Ecclesiastes 1:14. That I may enjoy in the deepest recesses of my heart an intimate companionship with thee, through Jesus Christ thy Son, who is thy wisdom and eternal understanding. He became a child that by his childhood and the folly of his cross, he might put to shame our vain and lying wisdom, cause what it may, and in spite of my fears and speculations, I desire to become lowly and a fool, still more despicable in my own eyes than in those of the wise in their own conceit. Like the apostles, I will become drunk with the Holy Spirit and be content with them to become the sport of the world. I found thee everywhere within. It is thou and does every good thing which I seem to do. I have 1,000 times experienced that I could not of myself govern my temper, overcome my habits, subdue my pride, follow my reason or will against the good which I once willed. It is thou that must both bestow the will and preserve it pure. Without thee, I'm but a reed shaken by the wind. Thou art the author of all the courage, the uprightness, and the truth which I possess. Thou hast given me a new heart, which longs after thine righteousness, and which is a thirst for thine eternal truth, that has taken away the old man full of filth and corruption, and which was jealous, vain, ambitious, restless, unrighteous, and devoted to its own pleasure. In what a state of misery did I live? Ah, could I ever have believed that I should be enabled thus to turn to thee, and shake off the yoke of my tyrannical passions? But behold, the marbles and eclipses all the rest. Who but thee could ever have snatched me from myself, and turned all my hatred and contempt against my own bosom. I have now done this, for it is not by our own power that we depart from self. No, thou, O Lord, didst shine with thine own light into the depths of my heart, which could not be reached by any other, and didst there reveal the whole of my fullness. I know that, even after beholding, I have not changed it, that I am still filthy in thy sight, and my eyes have not been able to discover the extent of my pollution, but I have at least seen a part, and I desire to behold the whole. I am despised in my own sight, but the hope that I have in thee causes me to live in peace, for I will neither slander my defects, nor suffer them to discourage me. I take thine side, O God, against myself. It is only by thine strength that I am able to do this. Behold, what has gone wrought within me, and thou continuest thine work from day to day, in cleansing me from the old Adam, and in building up the new. This is a new creation, which is gradually going on. I leave myself, Father, in thy hands. Make and remake this clay, shape it or grind it to atoms. It is thy own. It is not to say, only let always be subservient to thine ever-blessed designs, and let nothing may oppose thine good pleasure, for which I am created. Require, command, forbid, what wouldst thou have me do? What would thou have me do, or not do? Exalt it or abase, to rejoice in our suffering, doing thy work or laid aside. I will always praise thee alike, ever yielding up all my will to thine, to thine. Nothing remains for me but to adopt the language of Mary. Be it unto me according to thine words. Luke 1:38. Let me, O my God, stifle forever in my heart every thought that would tempt me to doubt thy goodness. I know that thou canst not but be good. O merciful Father, let me no longer reason but the grace, but to silently abandon myself to its operation. Grace performs everything in us, but does it with through us. It is by it therefore that I act, that I forbear, that I suffer, that I wait, that I resist, that I believe, that I hope, and that I love, all in cooperation with grace, following its guidance. It will do all things in me, and I shall do all things through it. It moves the heart, but the heart must move. There is no salvation without man's action. I must work then, without losing a moment, that I may put no hindrance in the way of that grace which is insistently working within me. All the good is of grace. All the evil is of self. When I do right, it's grace that does it. When I do wrong, it's because I resist grace. I pray, God, that I may not seek to know more than this, or else will but serve to nourish a presumptuous curiosity. Oh my God, keep me ever in the number of those babies to whom thou revealest thy mysteries, while thou concealest them from the wise and prudent, then causes me clearly to understand that thou makes use of the evils and imperfections of the creature, due to the good which thou hadst determined beforehand. Thou concealest thyself under the importunate visitor who intrudes upon the occupation of thine impatient child, that he may learn not to be impatient, that he may die to the gratification of being free to study or work as he pleases. Thou willest thyself with slanderous tongues to destroy the reputation for thy innocent children, that beside the innocence they be offered thee the sacrifice of the too highly cherished reputation, by the cunning artifices of the enviers. Thou layest low the fortunes of those whose are too much set upon the prosperity. It is thy hand that sends death upon him to whom life is a constant source of danger, at the tomb a harbor of refuge. If thou that makest his death a remedy, bitter enough it is true, but effectual for those who were too fondly attached to him, and thus while a saving one by removing him from life, thou preparest the others by that word act for a happy death. Thus thou mercifully strewest bitterness over everything that is not thyself, to the end that our hearts, formed to love thee and to exist upon thy love, may be, as it were, constrained to return to thee by a want of satisfaction in everything else. And this is because thou art all love, and consequently all jealousy. O jealous God, for thou art though called a divided heart displeaseth, a wandering one excites thy pity. Thou art infinite in all things, in love as well as in wisdom and power. Thou lovest like infinite God when thou lovest. Thou movest heaven and the earth to see thy loved ones. Thou becomest man, a baby, the wildest man, covered with reproaches, dying with infamy, and under the pangs of the cross. All this is not too much for an infinite love. Our finite love and limited wisdom cannot understand it. How should the finite comprehend the infinite? It has neither eyes to see it nor the heart to take it in. The debased and narrow soul of man and his vain wisdom are offended, and can perceive no trace of God in this excessive love. But for myself, it is by this word character of infinity that I recognize it, and it is the love that does all things and brings to pass even the evils we suffer by shaping them, that they are but instruments for preparing the good which as yet has not arrived. But when shall we return love for love? When shall we seek him who seeks us and constantly carries us in his arms? When he bears us along his tender and paternal bosom, then is that we forget him in the sweetness of his gifts. We forget the giver is the ceaseless blessings, instead of melting us into love, attract our attention and turn it away from him.